Well, hello, this is Doc Hatfield, Preacher Man Piper, coming to you. I was asked by some of you to tell you what happened to my wife and to that fella I threw out the third story window. Well, what happened was they found him, and he had had a crushed heel, a crushed hip, two elbows were broken, and he had a crack in the skull of his head. She ended up getting plane tickets to go back home. He was discharged from the service, and whenever he finally got home, he was in the hospital for about 4 to 5 months, maybe 6, recovering from all of that. And he got discharged and sent back home. Well, whenever they found me in that prison and got me out of that prison, the deal was that they had to send me home and get me out of Germany. Now, they didn't actually have to send me home, but they had to get me out of Germany. They felt like it was best for me to go home because my colonel said that he heard that there was a $25,000 mark on my head. And I said, "You mean just 25,000?" And he said, "Well, yeah." I said, "That's enough, isn't it?" I said, "Well, I thought I'd be worth at least 50." So whenever I got home, I was asked immediately if I knew where my ex-wife was. Well, of course, I didn't know that I figured she got a divorce, but I didn't know she did till I heard that. And I said, "Well, how would I know where she's at?" They said, "Well, nobody can find her." Said whenever she come home and he came home, they got married, they disappeared. And they were supposed to go home to meet his parents up in one of the eastern states. And then they never heard of her again. Well, fast forward about 20 years, and one day I got a phone call, and it was her. And I asked her where she was at. She said, "Well, I'm back in Denison." That's Denison, Texas, is where we all grew up. Me and my ex-wife, that is. And I said, "Well, how's your parents?" She said, "Well, I've learned that they both have died." And I said, "Where are you staying?" She said, "I'm staying in their house. They left it to me." And I said, "Well, how's your husband?" She said, "Well, he's dead." I said, "Dead?" She said, "Yeah." She said he was in a bad automobile accident and got killed. And she said, "JD, for 20 years I've been locked up in a house, never allowed to leave the house. I didn't leave that house for 20 years. I'd still be there now if he was still alive. I said, well, why were you locked up in a house? And she said, well, he said if I would fool around on you, that I'd fool around on him, and he wasn't going to give me the chance. So she said he kept me locked in and locked up. She said, of course, whenever he died, said then that let me free to go. I said, well, did y'all have any kids? She said, yeah, we had 2. And she said, and they're moving down here to be with me. And she said, I was just wondering if we could get back together again. I said, are you crazy? I said, no, we can't get back together again. And so that was the end of that conversation. About a year later, I found out that she got cancer and died. So that's what happened to both of them. And that was an end to a saga that I was of course, it ended for me once I ended up in that prison. But she spent more time in prison than I did. I told her, I said, you jumped out of the frying pan right into the fire, didn't you? She didn't answer me. Of course, she did. So anyway, that's the story. That's what happened. And somebody asked me a question the other day if I'd ever tried Kentucky Club. That's an old codger blend. And yes, I did smoke Kentucky Club. I also smoked Granger, and I also smoked Sale, along with my other codger blends, Carter Hall, Sir Walter Raleigh, and Prince Albert. And so that answers that question. Now then I got the 2 questions out of the way. I'll let y'all go. And y'all have a good weekend, okay? So, may the good Lord watch over you. May He show His grace to you. For He's a mighty God. So till then, so long.